So I tell her, look, if you want to be good at what you do as an artist, you have to be the best of the best.
Hey everybody, Mark Arinsberg here with The Purenow Show. This is episode number 4. My guest on the show today is Mr. Philip Rang, Director of Photography. Philip hails from Australia. He's been here in Southeast Asia for a few years, and as of late, made some very beautiful TVCs shot in the picturesque town of Hoi An. But he can tell you all about that. Here we go.
How did this all begin? Growing up in Australia, what was the experience or event that happened that began to guide you down this path and inspired you enough to go in this creative direction?
It's probably because I've been suffering from dyslexia. And I've always been a very bad student, very bad at reading, very bad at writing, even though I really pursued it and pushed it and tried to improve. But I still get simple things like a C and an S mixed up, and it can mean the world of difference of how people might perceive you. For example, I had this interview with this gentleman, and he pulled me up on it. He said, "Look, you know, you're not ASC, American Society of Cinematography, you're ACS, Australian Cinematographer Society." I'm still doing it. And it was a simple thing. It was in front of me, and I didn't see it. I didn't recognize it. But so that's how I found it more simple to express myself through images and photography. My grandfather had a Super 8 camera, and we'd sit around, and literally it was a campfire or a fire in a 44-gallon drum, and we'd go into the tent. I must have been 4 or 5 or 6, and we were watching the Super 8 films of my grandmother and her 11 sisters. One had died, and they liked to drink in Australia, and they were dancing on tables with saucepans on their heads, and that was where I think I got the first bite of wanting to work in films. So it took me 2 days, and I had 2 job offers to work on a film as a trainee with no experience, by knowing nobody, just by making a few phone calls and knocking on doors and going to see people. So I started on a film called Breaking Loose, a B-grade film. But I worked initially in the art department. I said, yeah, I'll come and work in the art department, but you've got to take me on as a camera trainee. So towards the end of the film, there was a location shoot. I did the sets. The crew came, and I was in the camera department. I was a trainee. I was doing the clapperboard in front of the face, and I was sent to the truck, the camera truck, by the focus puller. Said, "Go get me a 6x6 mat." I go, "Yeah? What's a 6x6 mat?" 85 mil. I go, 85 mil, 6x6 mat. So I'd run back to the camera truck, not knowing what to get, and I'd just bring out as many things as I possibly could, and that's how I learned how to work in the camera department. And the guy that I'd been working with in Indonesia was an Italian guy, and he said, "Vietnam is extremely busy. It's a good place to go for work." And I'd been coming to and from Vietnam since 2004. So I came to Vietnam on spec, packed my bag, made a few phone calls and said I'm on my way. And I started to work prolifically in Vietnam as from the end of 2015. Yeah, and it's been a pretty good trip. So that's why I left France, because people were getting killed and my children were just about to finish school. Yeah. And I thought, well, it's time to head towards Australia. and Vietnam was halfway on the way home to Australia, and so I'm on my way back to Australia in 15 days' time. The way I'd counsel myself, which I also counsel my children, I have one daughter who is an artist, and she wants to be a fashion, not a fashion designer, but she wants to make costumes for the theatre. And so I tell her, look, if you want to be good at what you do as an artist, you have to be the best of the best. So take note of the best in your industry, try to do their work, their style of work, and don't waste time on work which is not the best you can do.